everyone, this is your mentor Seema Jhalani from KYMS Academy. CAT 24 slot 1 previous year question series is going on, and already we have discussed 8 questions of verbal ability, and out of the 4 passages, 2 passages we have discussed. Today we are going to discuss passage 3. So let's get started and together we make it happen. A very meaningful quote by Benjamin Franklin. If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. It means you need to have a proper planning, a proper strategy, and a proper approach. Planning gives you focus and direction, and it takes you steadily towards success with confidence and clarity. So let's get started with the passage now. Now, basically, this passage is on a marsupial called Bandicoot, and this passage is informative in tone. So, beta, whenever you get the informative tone passage having informative tone, you need not have to read between the lines because the questions are going to be very direct. So, when you mark the answers, you just come back to the paragraph, locate certain keywords, and go for the right answer. So, there is no hidden meaning or implicit meaning in such kind of passages, and these are the passages that you should definitely do in your examination, right? So I'm reading it and explain you each and everything. Landing in Australia, the British colonists were not much impressed with the small-bodied, slender-snouted marsupials called bandicoots. Their muzzle, which is much too long, gives them an air exceedingly stupid. One naturalist noted in 1805, they nicknamed one type the zebra rat because of its black striped tongue. So now in examination, suppose if you're reading this particular paragraph, you just have to highlight the important keywords that some British colonists were there who came in Australia and they were not much impressed by the bandicoots. Why? Because of their appearance, okay? And because their muzzle, it looked actually stupid and the appearance was not at all good, so they were not very much impressed by these bandicoots, and for this reason, they nicknamed them zebra rat. Normally, rat is considered as an undesirable animal and it is also looked down upon. And because bandicoots were also looked down upon by the British colonists, therefore they call them zebra rat. Okay, so basically in this paragraph, we are talking about the perception of the British colonists towards the bandicoots because of their ugly appearance. Clear? Now, silly looking or not, though, the zebra rat, the smallest bandicoot, more commonly known today as the western barred bandicoot. So, despite their appearance, they were given the name western barred bandicoots and they were also notable, right? And they were known for the exhibited a genius for survival in the harsh outback, and they were they were known for their survival instinct because they knew how to survive in the extreme climate where its ancestors had persisted for some 26 million years. Its birth were triggered by rainfall in the brown dry desert. Brown dry means arid. It carried its breath mint-sized babies in a backward-facing pouch so mothers could forage for food and dig shallow and camouflage shelters. Now, this paragraph is basically giving you the description of bandicoot. So, this paragraph is saying that they persisted there. They lived there for 26 million years and they had become adapted to the harsh climatic conditions. Even they used to give birth to the babies, especially when there is rainfall. And they had pouch at the back where they can carry their babies, okay, especially while foraging the food, especially while searching for the food and digging the shelters. As you can see the word camouflage over here. So basically the meaning of camouflage is when you disguise your appearance, okay. But here the meaning of camouflage is protected shelters. Still, these adaptations did not prepare the western barred bandicoot for the colonial era transformation of its ecosystem, particularly the onslaught of imported British animals from cattle, rabbits that damaged delicate desert vegetation to ravenous house cats that soon developed a taste for bandicoots. Several of the dozen odd bandicoot species went extinct, and by the 1940s, the western barred bandicoot, whose original range stretched across much of the continent, persisted only on two predator-free islands in Shark Bay of Australia's western coast. Now, in this paragraph, the author is telling us about the near extinction, near extinction of bandicoots. Okay, so in the first line, the author is saying that basically these bandicoots, they got adapted to the harsh climatic condition. But then, when the British colonists they came to Australia, they did not come alone. They actually came along with the cattle and rabbits and cats. So what did cattle and rabbits do? They actually damaged the vegetation over there, and cats, it preyed on the bandicoots. So obviously the two impacts were there because of these animals. Cattle and rabbits, they were the reason for the destruction of the vegetation, and cats were the reason of the decreased population of bandicoot. As a result of which many species went extinct. Okay, but by the 1940s, the western barred bandicoot, normally they were covering the entire desert, but only these bandicoots, they were remain only on two predator-free islands where cats could not reach. So in this paragraph, we are talking about the near extinction of bandicoot. Our isolated fauna had simply not been exposed to these predators, says Reese Pedler, an ecologist with the Wild Desert Conservation Program. So basically, this ecologist is saying that yes, they were accustomed to the climatic conditions, but now because they were not ready for the attack by the cattle which were brought by the British colonists. Now, Wild Desert is using descendants of those few thousand island survivors called Shark Bay Bandicoots in a new effort to seed a mainland bandicoot revival. They have imported 20 bandicoots to a preserve on the edge of the Selecti Desert in the remote interior of New South Wales. This sanctuary is a challenging place, desolate much of the year with one of the worst, most mercurial rainfall patterns, relentless droughts followed by sudden drenching floods. Now, this paragraph is basically talking about the conservation program of bandicoots, right? And here the author is saying that in one of the deserts, there were the descendants of the surviving bandicoots. Now, suppose this is the mainland and this is the island where the surviving bandicoots were there. So the species of the surviving bandicoots were reintroduced on the mainland. Why they were reintroduced? Because the population of bandicoots was getting extinct. Okay. Now, 20 more bandicoots were brought on the preserve to this particular desert. And this century, basically, it was like unpredictable rainfall was there, and it faces extreme climatic conditions. The meaning of mercurial is something that keeps changing. Okay, so rainfall was unpredictable. Relentless means continuous drought was there, and that too followed by sudden drenching floods. Clear? So first paragraph, it talks about the perception of British colonists towards bandicoot, and they were not impressed. Second paragraph talks about the description of bandicoot. Third paragraph, it talks about the near extinction of the bandicoot. And the fourth paragraph, it talks about the conservation program. The imported bandicoots occupied two fence enclosures cleared of invasive rabbits. A third fence area contains the program's wild training zone where two other rare marsupials, bilbies, a larger type of bandicoot, and mulgaras, a somewhat fearsome fuzzball known for sucking the brains out of prey. Now, this statement is something which is actually funny. So, if you're not able to understand this particular line, do not sweat because it doesn't have meaning also, because here the author is being little humorous, right? Currently share terrain with controlled numbers of cats. Terrain here means a particular land or area. Learning to evade them. Evade means to avoid. It's unclear whether the Shark Bay bandicoots, which are perhaps even more predator naive than their now extinct mainland bandicoot kin, will be able to make that kind of breakthrough. Now, in the first three lines, basically the author is again talking about how to preserve the bandicoots from the predators. So here you can see the word enclosures, which actually sound weird over here because normally we use the word enclosures. Okay. And why do we use the word enclosure? Because we want to protect certain animal. But here the word enclosure is used because now here we want to protect the bandicoots from the attack by the cattle and rabbits and cats. For that reason, the author has used the word exclosure over here. Okay. So now here what happens, invasive rabbits are there. Why we have called them invasive? Because they were brought over here by the British colonists. So basically they were the kind of attackers. Okay. And the author wanted that bandicoot should get rid of these predators. So now here peddler's sheepdog is given. Peddler's sheepdog, they were chasing the rabbits, and because they were chasing the rabbits, so rabbits went away from there. And when rabbits went away from there, so there was no role of cats also. So cat also went away from there. And this is how that particular area got rid of these predators. But then some rare marsupials were there, which were bilbies and mulgaras. So they were brought together on a particular land along with the cats. Okay, and cats were the predators. So basically, they were trained over there in order to avoid the predators. But here in this line, the author is being little pessimistic, or this line, this suggestion is not sounding promising to the author. And the author is saying because these rare marsupials, they are so innocent in comparison to those bandicoots, those have become extinct now. So like he was little hopeless regarding that thing, whether they will be able to face the predators or not. So here this suggestion of the author, okay, doesn't sound promising. Suggestion of the ecologist doesn't sound promising. For now, though, a recent surge of rainfall has led to a bandicoot joy boom, raising the wild desert's population to about 100, with other centuries adding to that number. There are also signs of rebirth in the landscape itself. With their constant digging, the bandicoots trap moisture and allow for seed germination so the cattle damaged desert can restore itself. They have a new nickname, a flattering one. This time we call them ecosystem engineers, Pedler says. Now in this paragraph, as you can see, positive words have been given. Bandicoot joy boom, raising the wild desert population, signs of rebirth because of the constant digging, moisture, it allows for seed germination, and therefore the author has given them the term now ecosystem engineers. So here the author is being optimistic. Okay, because here the author is saying that because of the rainfall, bandicoots are giving birth to the new ones. So that would result in the increase of the population of bandicoot, right? And earlier they bought 20 bandicoots, okay, on the mainland, and now those have increased to 100. Then there are also signs of rebirth in the landscape itself. It means the landscape was getting revived. And how it was getting revived? Because the bandicoots, they were constantly digging the land. And because when rainfall was there, the water is reaching deep inside the soil, that allows for the seed germination, and for that reason vegetation was also growing. And because of these things, these bandicoots, they were termed as ecosystem engineers because they were helping in reviving the desert ecosystem. Clear? So in the first paragraph, what did we see? The perception of British colonists towards bandicoot. Second, description of bandicoot. Third paragraph, rare extinction of bandicoot. Fourth paragraph talks about the conservation program for bandicoots, and so is the case with the fifth paragraph. And the last paragraph talks about the optimistic outlook of the author towards the bandicoots. I hope things are clear. So out of the four passages of slot 1, this was the easiest of the lot. So now let us go for the question answers. Paragraph or summary is given to you. You can take a screenshot. Alright, so let's begin with the questions. According to the text, the western barred bandicoots now have a flattering name because. Now you see, when you read this particular question, you have come across the word flattering name. Now you have to keep this keyword into your mind, and then you have to recall that where did you come across this word. This word we came across in the last paragraph, okay? And bandicoots were given the flattering name, and that flattering name was ecosystem engineer. And why they were given this name? Because उन्होंने desert ecosystem को बढ़ाने में help किया था, right? So let us go for the options now. Grown fivefold in terms of population. So now had the question been put this way, that which of the following is true according to the passage? then obviously it would have been true. But now the question is asking us that why the flattering name ecosystem engineer was given to the western bar bandicoots. So obviously this cannot be the answer, though this is true, but this cannot be the answer. So this is eliminated, right? Led a revival in preserving the species. Okay, species were being preserved, but again, this was not the reason for which they were given the flattering name. Again, this cannot be the answer. Aided in altering an arid environment and led to a surge and increase of rainfall. Again, I would say both are true, but why they were given the name of ecosystem engineer? Because actually they helped in the growth of desert ecosystem, right? Aided in altering an arid environment here stands for the desert only, and obviously they help in altering it. Okay, so this is the answer. Led to a surge and increase of rainfall. Yes, increase of rainfall was there, but when water reached deep inside the land because of the digging. So who used to dig the land? It was the bandicoot. Okay, for that reason, answer is going to be C. It will not be D. Though D is correct as per the passage, but not the answer to this particular question. So yes, the answer is C. Clear? Second question. Which one of the following options does not represent the characteristics of the western barred bandicoot? When we say does not represent, it means you have to go for 3 T's and 1 false. So beta, always try to rephrase the question in your examination, because it is going to be easy for you to mark the answers then. So here I can also say that which is false so far characteristics of western barred bandicoot is concerned. Clear? Now, look of a rat but with a baby pouch and a slender snout. Okay, pouch word was given, snout word was given, slender word was given. So yet it is true. Shallow diggers having an elongated muzzle. What is elongated? Is prolonged. Muzzle is basically, have you seen dog or pig? The mouth of dog and pig, basically that those are called the muzzles. Long thin nose, black striped back, pouch for joys. This is also given. So one A is true, B is true, and C is also true. Smallest black striped marsupial that uses camouflage and digs. But I should be digs. Now many students, they went for D as the answer in examination. Okay, why? Because of the word camouflage. Okay, now because camouflage word was there in the second paragraph, so students felt ki yes, this can be the possible answer. So yes, they went for I want to correct myself, that many students, they did not go for D as the answer. The reason is they saw that camouflage word is given, which is correct, right? But now camouflage word is given, but then you have to see in what context this word has been given. Smallest black striped marsupial, okay, that uses camouflage. Did they use camouflage? Did they try to hide their appearance? No, they did not try to hide their appearance. They were only making the shelters, and that to the camouflage shelters. Camouflage shelters mean what? Protected shelter. Okay, so this is, I can say, it's an attractive word trap technique will be there, attractive word trap, because of the word camouflage as it was given in the second paragraph. But here the connotation has been completely changed. So therefore, this is going to be false and these are right. Okay. Now, one more thing is there, that students, they feel, they ask that ma'am, what if we do not know the meaning of these words? तो अगर आपको snout का, pouch का, muzzle का meaning नहीं भी पता था, but then you could have seen the word camouflage, which was used wrongly, okay, in a different connotation, not in the same connotation, uh, uh, the way it has been given in the passage. Okay, so this is going to be the false one. So first three are true and rest, D1 is false. The text uses the word exclosures because wild desert has adopted a measure of. You see, we came across this word in the fifth paragraph. Restoring cattle damaged deserts to green landscapes. So were they really trying to restore the cattle damaged deserts to green landscapes? Okay, let's see. I keep it aside. Excluding animals to make the island predator free. Yes, invasive rabbits were given, then cat was given, okay, and because rabbits went away from there because of the peddler sheepdog, so cats also went away. So basically they were trying to exclude the animals. Yes, it can be the possible answer, but let us verify the rest two also. Ridding the main desert of feral cats and large bilbies. Bilbies was the rare marsupial where they were being trained, okay, to face the predators. So obviously this is wrong. Again, it's a attractive word trap because it was there in the paragraph, but obviously not in that context. Barring the entry of invasive species, okay. So can we go for this invasive species? Barring the entry, now invasive species, there the invasive rabbit was given. So yes, this is going to be the right answer because they were brought by the natural colonists. Now you see, A was also tempting, B was also tempting, D was also tempting. But here we are talking about the restoring cattle damaged desert. So we were not restoring them, we were excluding them. We were getting that particular desert free from those predators. Okay, so this cannot be the answer now. So the right answer is going to be barring the entry of invasive species. Clear? This is also going to be wrong. Which one of the following statement provides a gist of this passage? So whenever you get any question based on the gist or the summary of the passage, obviously you have to see that particular option that encapsulates the entire thing, or maybe the first or the last paragraph preferably. Okay, so let us see now. Now, you can also see this thing this way, that author started the passage on a negative tone. Okay, he was being critical about the bandicoots because of their ugly appearance. But towards the end of the paragraph, he was being little pessimistic also. So now it's a combination of both negative and positive. So my answer choice should have negative and positive both. The negligent attitude of the British colonists towards these bandicoots, evidenced by the names given to them, led to their annihilation. So obviously, this is an extreme word. This is completely negative. It can be easily eliminated. A type of bandicoots was nearly wiped out by invasive species. Now here you can see a type of bandicoots, correct, nearly wiped out by invasive species. Invasive species is important. Nearly wiped out means near extinction, not complete extinction. But rescuers now pin hopes on a remnant island population. Now this part is negative, this part is positive, and yes, my answer choice should be the combination of negative and positive. So I'm going to keep B aside, but then let us check out rest two options also. Marsupials are going extinct due to the colonial era transformation of the ecosystem, which also destroyed natural vegetation. This is going to be the tempting answer for you. But here there are two things. One, are going extinct. Are going extinct means completely extinct. Okay, the inference will be this way only. So they are not going completely extinct, but rarely extinct. First thing. Secondly, they have written the word marsupials. In marsupials, there are many marsupials. Okay, raccoon is there, but we are talking specifically about the bandicoot. Okay, so this cannot be the answer again. This is very generalized statement. So A is eliminated, C is eliminated. Now let's see D. The onslaught of animals such as cattle, rabbits and house cats brought in by the British led to the extinction of the western barred bandicoot. Again, 2 points are there on the basis of which we can eliminate this option. First, it is utterly negative, and secondly, again it talks about the complete extinction when the author talks about the rare extinction of the bandicoot. So the correct answer is B. Easy? Okay, so yes, now we have come to an end to this session. I hope you like this passage, and it was actually very easy, and the questions were so very easy. You just have to boil down the options to the 4 and then you have to verify the things. So keep learning, keep practicing. If you have any doubt, you can always visit our website, or you can also contact us on the number given on the screen. Thank you so much.